Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome to drboycetv.com, the home for intelligent Black people. My name is Dr. Boyce Watkins, and it's so good to see everybody. I hope you guys are doing well. Let me know if you can hear me okay. Let me know if you can hear me in the chat. I want to make sure that my audio is coming through okay. I am at the Daytona 500. I came down to support a black race car driver by the name of LeVar Scott, and I had a really good time. And so, I hope you guys are doing well on this Sunday. And let's get to it. Let's get to the conversation. As you hit the thumbs up button, thumbs up, share, subscribe, all that good stuff. So I want to talk a little bit about Chris Brown. So Chris Brown, I don't know if you guys heard about this story, but Chris Brown's pretty angry right now, largely because he claims he was disinvited to the NBA All-Star game. He claims that the NBA said, "Hey, we'd like for you to play in the Celebrity All-Star game." And then the NBA circled back around and said, "My bad. We really don't want you here. We really don't like you. We really don't want your brand associated with our brand." They didn't say all that, but I believe that's what they were thinking because it's kind of strange to invite somebody to do something and then uninvite them. So basically, Chris Brown did something that was really interesting. He actually went to social media and he called out not just the NBA, but he called out the sponsor of the event. He called out the sponsor of the NBA Celebrity All-Star game, which was Ruffles. And he basically said that Ruffles is on some BS, that Ruffles, that they were holding things against him that happened many, many years ago. They were not being fair to him. They were wasting his time. And it kind of gave you a little bit of insight into the financial aspect of the NBA All-Star game. And I thought it was a real interesting topic to talk about because it involves two of my favorite topics, which is Black people and money. And I thought that this might make for a good financial lesson. Now, let me know if you guys can hear me okay. I see you, Lisa Love and Justin Pender, your main trustee. Give me a quick yes in the chat if you can hear me okay. And also let me know if you heard about this Chris Brown situation at all, if any of this has crossed your radar or not. And one of the things I wanted to kind of touch on is, first of all, I want to say this. Um, I think that the NBA and Ruffles are wrong. I really do. I side with Chris on all of this. Um, I side with Chris in terms of one key thing. The NBA should have dotted his I's and crossed his T's before they invited this man to this game. That's the first thing. They didn't have to invite him, but they did invite him, and I think that it's probably very stressful for him, to have to deal with the fact that people are still, kind of isolating him and freezing him out of things because of something that happened way back in 2008, 2009, back in the whole situation with Rihanna. And he sort of had this label for a very long time, in terms of being known as an abuser, right? And I'm gonna tell you, I don't think it's fair. I don't think it's fair at all. I think that he is a person that he's lived a lot of life since then. I mean, I don't think any of us would want to be in our mid 30s. I don't know how old Chris Brown is. I want to guess I'm gonna guess he's 34, 35 by now. I don't think I'd want to be 35, 36 years old and still have people treating me like they did when I was 19. From what I understand, Chris has not gotten into a situation like that. He's gotten in, he's had his dust up. Chris Brown, he's kind of edgy in a certain way, edgy for an R&B singer. And so he's kind of gotten into his situations, but he hasn't really done anything, in my opinion, that makes him some sort of dangerous brand to be associated with. And I agree with Chris 100%. Now let's talk about the NBA. Let's talk about the money. Okay, so now let's see the UK. The more you know. Let's see. So I like the comparison of him and Dr. Dre and how Andre was praised and named an award after him. And that might be true. Maybe what I think part of it could be though. Actually, that's a good point you make. This also relates to money. Dr. Dre gives away a lot of money. Dr. Dre gave. Anybody remember when Dr. Dre gave? What was it over? Was it almost $100 million or 40 million or some insane amount of money to USC? He probably donates to the academy and all this other stuff. And so sometimes what people will do is they will use money to try to cover up for some of their sins. And I don't know what Chris Brown has done with his money in order to do that. I don't know if Chris Brown has Dr. Dre money. I assume Chris Brown is not broke. I assume he's not poor. But that's, if you want to know what I see going on there with Dr. Dre, the difference is Dr. Dre's a little older, number one. So he's had a little more distance between his indiscretions and who he is now, right? Dr. Dre, shoot, he's what, 54, 55 years old now. Chris is 30 something. It was $70 million. Yeah. And Dr. Dre, by the way, he was very upset with me actually, because I wrote an article basically saying I thought that his donation was bullshit. I was backing an HBCU president. His last name was Kimbrough. I can't remember his first name, but this president, I think he was the president of Xavier. I don't know where he's president at right now, but he wrote a really nice article where he basically said he didn't understand why you would give $70 million to USC, a school that doesn't even need the money. Like USC spent $70 million in a couple of weeks. Whereas if you had given that money to an HBCU, you could educate black children for the next 100 years. Now, again, I know that Dr. Dre has done some other things for the hood. I'm not saying he's done nothing. It seems like he's done a lot of great philanthropy, and I respect that. But at the same time, I just couldn't help but try to understand. I said, I just don't get it. I don't understand. White people need to be giving money to black people. Black people don't need to be giving donations to white people. White people got plenty of money. USC has plenty of money. USC is a very wealthy school. So, the only thing I can think of as to why somebody would give money to a wealthy white school like USC is because they're trying to be integrated. They're trying to get into their ecosystem. They're trying to somehow get access to something. And I think that as black people, we've been trained for a very long time to want to have access to white people and to white brands and white economic ecosystems. So again, I gave, just to give you a personal story, I gave a speech down in South Central, and I spoke at Malena Karanga's bookstore, and he created Kwanzaa, and it was a nice event. It was sold out. Hundreds of people were there, and one guy that was there was a guy named Andre who. What was his name? Not without. Wait, what was it? He wrote a book called NWA. I think his name was Andre. He said because NWA stood for Not Without Andre, I think, or something like that. Where he basically said that he introduced Dr. Dre and Eazy-E and Ice Cube and all them to each other. And this brother who came to my event, he sent me a copy of his book. He personally said, I took your article and I shared it on my Facebook page, and Dr. Dre blocked me after that because he was pretty upset about your article. And I said, good, he should be upset, because at the end of the day, I just don't understand our desire to give things away to white folks. It doesn't make any sense. So anyway, with that being said, though, I don't want to stray too far from the topic. So with Chris Brown and Dr. Dre, I think that's the difference. Also Dr. Dre's situations weren't as public, I think, as Chris's. A lot of people know about things he was involved with. They know about his arrests, but they don't really know so much about his domestic situations, right? Oh, wow, he turned 59 today. Wow. So there's a big difference there, right? Between 59 and 35 or 36 or 34, whatever Chris is. So I think that over time, Chris is going to be, he's going to be forgiven for his sins. I think he already has been in a lot of circles, but there are going to be some corporations that won't do business with him because of that past. Also, remember this too. Chris Brown is an R&B singer. Dr. Dre is a gangster rapper. So I think that there's a little more leeway for gangster rappers to have a gangster persona. Remember Snoop Dogg and Dr. Dre in the 90s, their favorite lines with stuff like "We don't love them hoes" and "I can't stand a bitch" and stuff like that. R&B singers are supposed to be the romantic guys. They're supposed to be the ones who love women, and you go to their concerts and it's like 95% women. And whereas Dr. Dre is a little bit different. So I think that's where you see the difference there. But either way, though, I reiterate that I think Chris Brown is correct. I think that Chris Brown is right, that it is insane that they're still the NBA, Ruffles, and all them are still sort of remembering things that happened a long time ago. I think it also speaks to advice I would give any young black man. If you ever get in a situation where you are tempted to hit a woman, I encourage you not to even consider ever hitting a woman, even if she hits you. Even if she hits you, don't hit her back, because if you hit her, then she gets to call you an abuser. She gets to claim she's an abuse survivor and all this other stuff. And y'all know how some women are. Some women are liars. Some women will punch you in the face, and then when you punch her back the same way she punched you, she'll say she was a survivor of abuse. Well, maybe you started a fight and got your ass kicked in a fight that you started, but that ain't the same as being a domestic violence survivor. And I think that there are a lot of people that hide under the cloak of victim because society allows them to. And if you are involved with a black man, it's very easy to proclaim yourself to be a victim. So I'm gonna tell you, I don't know. I don't know the whole situation with him and Rihanna. I don't, but then again, though, maybe he did do some things he shouldn't have done. Another little point I'll make, and I hope that you'll share this with your son, because nobody else is gonna tell him. Ain't nobody else gonna tell your son this. The brothers got to be careful with drugs and alcohol. You got to be careful with drugs and alcohol. I know society tells you should get lit as much as possible. You should be high and drunk as much as possible. You should go and go smoke something, drink something all the time. You don't understand. Y'all need to understand this. That will take you out of your right mind, you dumbass. Getting drunk and high will take you out of your right mind and have you doing shit that you would normally do if you were sober. And so then at that point, what happens is you sober up and people are telling you, they're holding you accountable. They're taking you to jail for something you did while you were high and while you were drunk, because you've been listening to rappers that tell you to get high every day and all this other stuff. And next thing you know, your whole life is ruined. So that's another thing. I guarantee you, give me a yes if you agree with this statement. Give me a yes if you agree that in the vast majority of situations like this, domestic situations where a man put his hands on a woman and it got out of control, there was drugs or alcohol involved. Give me a yes if you agree with that statement. Anybody remember Ray Rice, 27 years old, lost his whole NFL career because he punched out his wife and he was drunk when he did it and probably got CTE, but didn't nobody care about that. What's the other guy? The guy that shot Megan Thee Stallion in the foot, tried to shoot her in the ass. Tory Lanez, sitting in prison right now. I bet you that they were drinking. What do you think? I bet somebody was lit that night. See, people don't talk about this. Nobody talks about this. I don't get it. This is the kind of stuff we actually do financial consciousness training every morning at 10 a.m. I'll put the URL up here if y'all want to join us, because I talk, again, my PhD is in finance, but I've learned so much about money and that you're not going to read in the textbook. There's so many things that put your finances in jeopardy that you're never going to read in a finance book. That is ridiculous. When you're black, you have to think about how you live your life. You got to think about the things you do. There's a reason why I don't drink around my daughters and around my kids, because I don't want to do something crazy that I might not normally do if I was sober. I want to be in my right mind. I need to be alert. And I don't know if we teach that to black men. We teach them to get sloppy drunk, get high all the time, go out here, make yourself vulnerable. You are a sitting duck, man. You setting yourself, you're supposed to be, America declares war on the black man before he's born. The black man is at war before he is born. They want you dead before you're born. They want your black ass dead. But yet somehow somebody convinced you that it makes sense for you, as the soldier you need to be, for you to be out here high, drunk, sloppy, unfocused, undisciplined, and weak. And then when society kicks you in your butt, when the world comes crushing down on you, when they catch you in the rabbit trap, you suddenly want to scream victim. Oh, it's so hard to be black. Oh, they doing black men wrong. Oh, they just they killing our black men. I hear that. I know that they're killing our black men. That's why this black man avoided drugs and alcohol. I need to stay. I got my head on the swivel, son. I mean, that was, but then again, my father was a Vietnam veteran. He was a soldier. So he taught me things like this. I don't know what your daddy taught you. Maybe some of the guys didn't have daddies. And my heart goes out to you. But we as a community have to start being serious and start looking at the writing on the wall. Start doing things that actually make sense. I don't feel like Chris Brown is being done right. I feel like Chris Brown is being mistreated. But I also feel like life ain't fair. And I also feel like Chris Brown is black. And I also would say that black men that are watching this should understand you can do things at the age of 17 that will stay with you for the rest of your life. It will be like a social STD. Chris is 30-something years old, done sold millions of records, famous all around the world, made millions of dollars, and there's still companies that will never fuck with him. They will never go near him. That's called brand association. They don't want their Ruffles potato chips associated with a guy who's accused of beating women. It's that simple. So is it right? No, it's not right, but this is what it is. So anyway, do me a favor, please hit the thumbs up button. Thumbs up, share, subscribe. My name is Dr. Boyce Watkins. You're watching drboycetv.com, the home for intelligent black people. We do our financial consciousness training every morning at 10 a.m. Eastern. So if you'd like to join us, you can do one membership and bring your whole family, bring your kids, bring your spouse, bring everybody. Everything is recorded. We have about 40 lectures on economics and everything else. Black people must learn economics. Black people must learn economics. Black people must learn economics. We must learn where the money's at. Everybody likes money. Well, to make money, you got to understand money. And a lot of us don't understand it. My PhD is in money. I studied money for 30 years. I taught at the University of Kentucky, Indiana University, Syracuse University, and I taught around the world in China and other places. So I can even tell you about other cultures and how they view wealth. So we do this every single morning at 10 a.m. Eastern. If you'd like to join us, just go to drboycedaily.com. You can also text the word money to 87948, and I'll send you a training I did called How to Make Money Without Working. Just text the word money to 87948. Somebody type that in the chat. Text money to 87948. Okay, so we're talking about Chris Brown and his situation with the NBA. The NBA is being unfair to him. They invited him to perform allegedly, according to Chris. And I'm gonna share a couple. I'm gonna throw up a couple screenshots of Chris's statement, and then I'm gonna give you the other perspective in terms of what I'm seeing here financially. So here is, let's see, here's one. Wait, hold on, wait. Let me see. Okay, so when Chris Brown came out and said that he was uninvited because of ruffles or whatever, they put out this statement, and I'm gonna try to read on the screen. It's very small. It basically says that I can't even hardly read it on my screen, but y'all see it. It's up there. Effectively, they're basically saying we have nothing to do with the personnel decisions. We sponsored the All-Star game, and we don't choose who plays in it. So that's BS. We had nothing to do with Chris Brown not being invited. Now, Chris Brown then shares a letter where he was invited to play in the game. He claims that he was then uninvited. And I agree with that inconvenience. I think that's incredibly unfair to him. I think that if you're going to invite somebody, you got to stand on business and stick to your commitment. If you don't want them there, then don't invite them. I think that was absolutely immature, ridiculous, and unprofessional for them to do that. Now, and here's the other thing too with Chris Brown. I remember when Chris Brown was supposed to do a Michael Jackson tribute. Anybody remember that? He was going to do a Michael Jackson tribute, and I think he would have been perfect for it because I think he's right up there with Usher and all these other great performers, and he would have been a great Michael Jackson. I don't know if you call it impersonator, or he would have been great for a Michael Jackson tribute. And he spent a lot of time working on his performance and did an amazing job. And then suddenly they just canceled him. They just decided not to invite him. So I don't know why they do this. It's very, very strange with this kind of behavior, but it's a pain in the ass when people do that. I've gone through it myself. I had an event that I was going to do with the minister, Louis Farrakhan. Farrakhan and I wrote a book years ago called It Takes a Village to Raise the Bar, A New Paradigm for Black America. It's on Amazon. It's at drboycebooks.com. Anyway, I released this book back in 2013, and I was on tour for this book. And one of the things I was doing on the tour was I was doing an event that what I call BOMB, Building Outstanding Men and Boys. Build the bomb. We need our boys to be built like bombs where they're prepared for the future. They're prepared to be successful. We need strong husbands and fathers. We don't need a bunch of lazy, bum-ass, weak-ass, uneducated alcoholics running our families. We need strong men that are going to lead a community. So the Minister Farrakhan was going to join me for this, and we were going to appear at the University of Illinois, Chicago. Y'all follow me? Okay, so Farrakhan and I had got together, made the plan. Nation of Islam was down. I love the Nation of Islam. They are amazing people to work with because they always stand on business. They follow through. They're wonderful human beings and extraordinarily strong men. They're a great template as far as our community. So we were going to do this event at University of Illinois, Chicago. We reached out to UIC. They agreed to bring us in. So we started making plans. We started piling up, stacking up, preparing, getting ready, everything else. And then literally a couple of days before the event, the Jewish people that gave money to the school heard Farrakhan was coming, and they canceled the whole event. So next thing you know, we had no event because they just decided that they didn't want us there. And now it wasn't that they didn't want us there that bothered me. It's okay. I understand. Not everybody understands Farrakhan or respects him the way I do. It's your right to do that. The problem was that we put so much time into the preparation. The problem was that we had spent weeks marketing the event, preparing for the event. Doing events is very expensive. Just like for Chris, I'm sure doing his performances is very expensive. Travel's very expensive in terms of time and money. So the problem that I have, and this is where I relate to Chris, I get it, man, is people just, it's crazy when people just waste their time. Now, what I think should have occurred though, is I think Chris, if he was invited, should have probably asked them to sign some sort of contract or something. I don't know. To say, look, this is what's going to happen if you cancel. That's something that may be considered. That's what I started doing. I started just telling people, like, look, if you want me to make this trip, you're going to have to put something on it. You're going to have to put something down so that if you get squeamish and you cancel, you're going to have to make me whole again. You're going to have to compensate me for my time. You have to compensate me for the money that I spent. Let me give you a real life example. This is something that this is actually a lesson for life. For anybody that values their time, and doesn't want people wasting your time, here's something you can do. This helps solve what they call a moral hazard problem in finance. So here's what I did. All right, so there was this group in Alabama. I want to say it was Birmingham, and the group was the A.G. Gaston Society. So the A.G. Gaston Society, they had me come in to speak one year, and I don't remember what they paid me, but they had me come in to speak. And I got there and I did my pro-black thing, and I rocked the house, and they loved it, and it was an amazing experience, and I had a lot of fun, and I enjoyed them. They enjoyed me. The problem is that you always have a risk when white folks are paying the bills. It's always a risk to associate with forward-thinking black people. When white folks are paying the bills, it's very risky to associate with a black man like me because I don't stutter around white folks. I don't. If you ask me about reparations, I'm gonna give you a very polite and very honest answer. If you ask me about discrimination, I'm gonna give you a polite and honest answer. If you ask me about the racial wealth gap, I'm gonna tell the truth. So my concern with the A.G. Gaston Society in Birmingham was, I know y'all like me. I know you all are glad that I'm here, but I need to talk to your parents. I need to know. It's like you're talking to a kid. I need to know who's paying the bills because I know you're happy I'm here, but how does your boss feel about me being here? Because I don't have a boss. I don't live in that world. I'm not a corporate Negro. I'm a black man. I'm an independent black man. I've been one for a long time. So we kind of move different. We say what's on our minds. We say things that will probably get you in trouble on your job. And I don't want to get no black people fired. So I remember saying, "Are you sure? Are you sure?" They invited me back. They're like, "Oh my God, we love you, Dr. Watkins. We'd love to have you back." I was like, "Okay, well, are you sure?" And they're like, yeah. We want you back because what you were saying is so great. Okay, all right. Are you sure? Because I saw your sponsors, and your sponsors don't always like people like me. And so, but they stuck with it. So here's what happened. So we made an agreement. The next year I was supposed to come back. But in my contract, when you have me come speak, my speaking fee at that time, it was $10,000. Now it's $20,000. At that time, it was 10. And we told them, you got to put down a deposit for half the money. And this deposit is non-refundable. That means that if you get nervous right before we go to the starting line, or you get cold feet, or you get weak in the knees, or Massa done got on the phone and told you that you can't affiliate with certain black people, you're going to at least give us that half of the money. You're not going to waste my time. I don't need you to accept me. I'm not begging for your acceptance. I don't care if you invite me. I don't care about being in the circles that you're in. I respect your circle, but I don't need to be in that circle. I'm already in a wonderful circle called intelligent black people. I've got my network. I've got my clique. I've got my gang. I'm already gang affiliated. I don't need integration because I'm already integrated into a space where I'm loved and appreciated. And I just said to them, I said, look, if you really want to do this, you better be ready to do this or don't do it at all. Either follow through or don't invite me. And if you decide to change your mind, it's going to cost you money. So here's what happened. So about a year later, white folks were being white. And I made a comment about this singer called Lizzo. And I wasn't talking about Lizzo. I was talking about the record labels. I wasn't talking about Lizzo. I was talking about the minstrel show of entertainment. I wasn't talking about Lizzo. I was talking about the people who paid this very talented, beautiful young woman to run around acting like a damn ass and getting on her knees, simulating oral sex in front of children, wearing thongs to Laker games, and then walking around talking about obesity like obesity is a good thing, even though black people die from obesity in droves every year. During the pandemic, the number one thing that was killing black people, the number one reason they told you to get that shot, give me a yes if you remember this. Give me a yes if you remember what I'm talking about. The number one reason they told y'all to get that shot is because black people are number one in all the risk factors that cause you to die from the virus, and the number one risk factor was obesity. So on one hand, you're telling us to go get this shot because we're so obese, because obesity is killing us. But on the other hand, you're telling us that obesity is a good thing. So you want us to be sick. You want us to die. You want us to be in horrible shape. You want us to be unhealthy so that then you can show up and make yourself the hero in a problem that you created. You want to be the solution to a problem that was created by you. Fuck you. Kiss my entire black ass. That's bullshit, black people. That's nonsense. That's insanity. That's absolute insanity. So I just, in my perhaps crude way, maybe I didn't say it as clear as I wanted. I didn't want Lizzo to take it personally, but I said, no, I don't like the idea that this black woman's going around promoting obesity in a community where we're all dying from obesity. It don't make no damn sense. The math ain't mathing. And so anyway, that led to controversy. So here's what white people do. Let me tell you how they do. This is what white media, the racist white media, not all white folks do this. There are white people. I meet white people all the time. And if you're white and you're listening, I promise I don't hate you. If I see you, I'll shake your hand and maybe give you a hug if I know you, but because I have nothing against anybody. But let me tell you the truth. This is what the media does to black men. So the Associated Press picked up the story, right? And when they picked up the story, all of them wrote the same article and all of them wrote the same narrative. All of them had the same story. The same story was what's the word? This professor has toxic masculinity and he's fat shaming Lizzo in his toxic masculinity and his sexist. This sexist evil black man is oppressing a black woman by telling her that there's something wrong with promoting obesity, right? So and the crazy thing was that all these media outlets, there's probably 2,000 media outlets wrote that story. All of them talked about me, but none of them talked to me. Do you understand the difference? All of them had something to say about me, but not one of them said, let's talk to this person and see. He's a professor. He has a whole PhD. He has more education. He had more education by the age of 28 than my whole family will ever have in our whole entire lifetime. Maybe there's something to what this man is saying. Did they think that? No, because but here's the thing. I wasn't mad about it because I know how the game is played. I know what propaganda looks like. I also understand that the black man is viewed as subhuman. The black man is not viewed as an equal. The black man, they don't want to know your opinion. They're like, if we want your opinion, Negro, we will give it to you. If we want to know what you think, we will tell you what to think, and then we'll know what you think because we told you to think it. That's what they do. So ultimately, that's what they did. They didn't, so it became a weird narrative. And I remember telling my wife, I was like, I don't hate Lizzo. Like, and even my girls were like, boys, what do you have against Lizzo? I was like, nothing. I feel bad for Lizzo. I think it's gonna be costly to her. Eventually, you see what happened. She eventually got sued because she's doing this crazy ratchet stuff to get attention. Now she's getting sued. She's gonna lose everything because of this, right? So really, I was like, no. If I get on the phone with her, I'd have a great conversation. It'd be like a fatherly conversation because she's young enough to be my daughter. I'm not gonna go beefing with somebody who's the age of my kids. So anyway, so what happened then? So stick with me on this story. So after this Lizzo thing blows up, the AG Gaston Society did exactly what I expected. They got squeamish because their white corporate sponsors said they don't want to be affiliated with this radical black man who somehow oppresses and fat shames women, right? So they canceled my speech. Did I give a fuck? Did I care? No, I did not. Did I lose 1 ounce of sleep that night? No, I did not. Did my eyes, like, was I up at night? Did I not miss a beat in my life because they canceled my speech? No, I did not. And part of the reason was, number one, because I understand what financial security does. Financial security, which I'm pretty good at. I studied risk management extensively during my PhD program. So one of the risks that black people must manage is the risk that white people are going to get in your ass if you get out of line. You have the risk that when you start acting free and acting uppity, like somehow you're their equal, that they will try to take you in the back and spank you like a field slave. That's what they're going to do. They're going to try to spank you like a 7-year-old. And if you're not able to stand up financially, if you don't understand the rules of economic warfare and how economics are used to control black people in America and around the world, how economics are used to reward you for coonish behavior, they are used to punish you for assertive behavior. That's why you got rappers out here acting like clowns, because people pay them to act like clowns. If they paid them to act like scholars, then they'd be the most scholarly fucking people on the planet. But they don't pay them to be scholars. They pay them to be buffoons. Come on, Negro, get you 50 more tattoos and 85 more gold chains. And we need you to talk like you a retarded 3rd grader. Like, seriously, we need you to talk like you can't spell your mama's name. We need you to talk about black women like you hate their guts. We need you out here talking about you want to kill black people at every available turn. You don't sound bad enough. You need to sound like a Klansman. Like, I want to kill every other that I see, right? That's what they want from you. That's what they do. That's what they pay them to do. This, folks, pay attention, black people. This is economic warfare. And anybody who studies economics from me, and I know some of y'all love me, and I appreciate y'all so much. If I am your teacher, if I'm your finance professor, what I need you to understand is that there's a difference between standard economics and Black economics. Black economics goes beyond just making money and how money works and how to invest and all. I can show you all of that stuff. But Black economics is an understanding of all the subtle and not so subtle ways that economic rewards and punishments are used to incentivize the most devious, corrupt, destructive, dysfunctional, and unhealthy behavior imaginable amongst the Black community. Please give me a yes to let me know you understand what I'm saying. Let me know you can hear me. Let me know you get what I'm saying here. So effectively, so to finish the story, and let's circle back to Chris Brown. I didn't really care that they canceled me because I had financial security. Second of all, because I had signed a contract where they had to give me half the money up front so they would not waste my time, I still made $5,000 and I still got to stay home and cuddle with my wife that weekend. And if I have a choice between getting on the road and staying in a hotel and hanging around with strangers or cuddling with my beautiful wife, my wife wins that contest every single week. So effectively, I think Chris, if I'm Chris's advisor, and Chris, if you hear this video, you can call me. I'll talk to anybody. I talk to celebrities sometimes. If you listen, I'll talk to you. But if you're gonna waste my time, I'm not gonna talk to you. You know, Kanye wastes my time. I didn't want to talk to him anymore. I like Kanye West, but he needs medication. He needs a good therapist. But Kanye thinks he knows everything, so I don't care. Ice Cube listened to me, so I was happy to share things with him. If Chris called me and he wanted advice, information, I would help him, and it would be free of charge because I want to see this Black man win. And I would love to see intelligent people like him use their power to do good for the community because there's so much good that needs to be done. There's so many people that need to be helped. There's so many opportunities out here. There's so many things we can do. There's so many power moves we can make. We just have to have the right mindset. We do. We have to have the right mindset. So here's with Chris, one little piece of thought here. It's simple is if somebody says they want you to do something, make them put some skin in the game. If the Grammy says, "Hey, Chris, hey, bud, we love you, dude. We really like you, man, bro. We love for you to do a Michael Jackson tribute, dude." Then just say, "Okay, well, here's what it's gonna cost you, and I'm gonna need this much money up front in case y'all change your mind. I need to know that you're serious. I need you to put some skin in the game." This is financial theory, by the way. This is how weird scholars are. When I was in my PhD program and I was on the faculty at Syracuse University, there were entire research papers written about this. This is what they call moral hazard or optimal contracting. Optimal contracting is simply where you make people put skin in the game so they don't screw you. So Chris got screwed. And I don't blame him for being mad. I don't know if it was appropriate for him to step out there and speak in public about this, because what's going to happen is other corporate sponsors are going to be squeamish about working with him because they're concerned. Anybody with money, anybody who's doing big business with big money is always concerned about somebody that they think will go public if things don't work out. So that does hurt his ability to make other business deals. But maybe I'm sure Chris has enough going on where that doesn't matter. I have no idea. He's very talented, and I truly wish him the absolute best. But I really think the NBA was wrong to do what they did. I don't think Chris should be held mistreated for the things that happened 15 years ago. But remember, Chris is also a Black man, and the rules change for us. If Chris were a white woman, this would not be an issue. If Chris were a white female, if he were what's that lady's Taylor Swift? Chris is more talented than Taylor Swift. But if Chris Brown were Taylor Swift, none of this would be an issue. But for the Black man, you're playing by a different set of rules. And here's the thing, though. Ruffles and the NBA have every right to decide who they want to associate their brand with. And I would encourage every Black man, look, some of these situations, love and relationships already put you in an irrational state of mind. He was 19. His brain wasn't even fully developed. If he was liquored up or high, that makes it even worse. So my advice to young Black men who want to be intelligent and strategic is, I just ask you, why do you need liquor anyway? Why do you need drugs anyway? You don't need that shit. You can have fun without all that. I just don't understand it, because all that's going to do is increase the likelihood that you're going to throw it all away, and then you're going to have a lifetime full of regret. So I don't want this for you. So as the man I hope you allow me to be your temporary father figure to tell you something that your daddy should have told you, is that out here in this game, these people are not playing. They will take something you did when you were 17 and hold it against you when you are 50. And it's unfair and it's crazy and it's wrong. I hate it, but that's life. Okay. So anyway, that's my 2 cents on the Chris Brown thing. I hope that this discussion helped you. I know I talked a little bit and I was about different things that I didn't expect to cover, but my goal is to really just share information in a way that is hopefully helpful to all of you that are trying to understand life and understand money and understand how money impacts life. Okay. All right. So anyway, I'm gonna get out of here, guys. Hit the thumbs up button, thumbs up, share, subscribe. If you'll allow me to, I'd like to tell you about my new book. It's called The 10 Commandments of Black Economic Power. This is a simple blueprint that if any family or individual follows these 10 commandments, you have a much higher likelihood of having extensive amounts of family wealth in less than a generation. There are clear, direct, simple to implement strategies that if you do it and you teach it to your kids and grandkids, you read the book together as a family, your family will have more wealth than white people in less than a generation. I guarantee it. So feel free to go to drboycebooks.com and take a look at that book. And also my wife, Dr. Alicia Watkins, is a licensed therapist and a full professor of social work. So we are a dual PhD couple. We care about the community. Love and money are areas that we cover extensively. And one of the things that we understand when we created our Black Financial Therapy Department, which is the first ever Black Financial Therapy Department we've ever seen anywhere, is we believe that we know for a fact that there are psychological barriers to building Black wealth. So we're working with the best therapists in the Black community to solve those barriers so that we can actually get to the bottom of this wealth thing. We're not waiting for white folks to do it because we know we need to do this ourselves, but it's great because we have enough talent in our community to do it ourselves if we want to. So my wife's books are at drboycebooks.com. Her name's Alicia. Just look up her name. You can see her books on financial trauma, things like that. And then my book is called The 10 Commandments of Black Economic Power. And one more thing, I'd like to invite you, if you're interested, every morning, every single morning, 7 days a week at 10 a.m. Eastern, we do financial consciousness training, which you can sign up for. You can get everything recorded. One membership brings in your whole family and it doesn't cost that much. And you can go to drboycedaily.com. My students at Syracuse paid $71,000 a year to go to that school. Well, you don't have to pay that. I think the fee is like $60 a month. And also you get the first month free. So if you'd like to try it out the first month free, go to drboycedaily.com. Also, this podcast is on Spotify, so just look up my name. And last but not least, if you'd like to get a free access to my training on how to make money without working, you can just text the word money to 87948. So text money to 87948 and I'll send that to you. So I hope these resources are helpful to you. Our goal is to be better than college was for you because the solutions are out there. We just have to work together to implement the solutions because I know that we can be the best. We are meant to win. We are not meant to lose. We are always meant to be in first place, never second, never third, and definitely not last. So have a good night, everybody. God bless you. Thank you so much for listening. I'll talk to you soon. Peace.
Here we are, clan the isms, cataclysm, great. Our people out here struggling, trying to make it in this state. Everybody out here doing it, but we the ones too late. Now family, we the ones who gotta delegate. Get that money in the power, never be fake. Stick to cosign for 3. What did he say? Create jobs, support our own. Educate the same and buy back your home. Got 3 degrees, triple 10. 3 PhDs, now we on the CNN. DBTV, let's talk about negligence. Ignorance is bliss, but we can turn it to intelligence. Believe none of what you hear, half of what you see. Let's break it down here on Dr. Boyce TV. Here we are.